Russia affirms terrorists responsible for targeting children in schools in Syria. Patriarch Hazim IV of Antioch and all the Orient of the Greek Orthodox Church dies after suffering from stroke. Sit-ins continue in front of al-Ittihadiyya presidential palace to compel Mursi to go back on his decisions. Good afternoon and welcome to our news for today. Jordanian King Abdullah II has stressed that a political solution in Syria is the best way to go out of the present crisis. He added his country will not be a party in any military intervention in Syria. In an interview with Al-Ra'i and Jordan Times dailies published today, King Abdullah said, "The failure to reach a political solution in Syria and the delay in reaching such solution may lead to more complications on the ground. It will have catastrophic repercussions." He called on all parties in Syria to consider their country's interest and unity as a priority that comes before anything else. The Russian Foreign Ministry has declared that the terrorists and the foreign sites that support them must assume responsibility for targeting children at a school in Syria. In a statement, the Foreign Ministry presented condolences to all the Syrians who are affected by this tragedy, affirming full condemnation of all forms of terrorism. The ministry stressed that there is no justification for killing children and destroying schools and hospitals, adding that those who commit such acts are criminals and deserve the severest punishment. The foreign sides that support them must be also held responsible for such acts, the Russian Foreign Ministry asserted. Al-Qaeda terrorism against Syrians has not spared schools in the country. The funeral of 13 students and their teacher has taken place in Damascus. Their school, Martyr Hussein Abdul Rahman al-Btayha al-Ula in al-Wafidin camp, was targeted by terrorists in Damascus suburbs yesterday. The shells fired by the terrorists also wounded 20 other students, most of them seriously. Dr. Hazwan al-Waz, the Minister of Education, asserted that targeting al-Btayha school is another crime to be added to the black record of the mercenary terrorists who are supported by foreign sides. The Syrian Arab Army units continued to hunt down terrorists linked to al-Qaeda, defeating many of them today. The units destroyed a vehicle fitted with a .23 caliber assault gun, in addition to 3 motorcycles and a van, killing all the terrorists who were using them in the al-Taiba town near Damascus. The source also told our reports that an army unit in Zamalka killed a number of terrorists who were killing and looting the locals. In Daraa, the National Reconciliation Delegation, comprising 40 figures, including doctors, pharmacists, teachers, judges and peasants, met in Da'il with the governor of the city, Muhammad Khalid al-Hannous. The delegation has undertaken to expel terrorists and to offer them no assistance. The members of the delegation expressed hope to see security and normal life restored in all governorates and cities after dealing a blow to the armed terrorist groups who wreaked havoc, destroyed infrastructure and spread devastation in contravention with their alleged demands for reform and change. On his part, the governor pledged to work for the rehabilitation of the devastated areas in cooperation with the local society. its session today, the People's Assembly has affirmed that the voice record that revealed the involvement of Lebanese Member of Parliament Aqab Saqr and his direct master Saad al-Hariri in supporting the armed terrorist groups in Syria make it incumbent upon the specialized judicial bodies in Lebanon to move in order to take the necessary legal measures against the aforementioned persons. In a statement read out by Assembly Speaker Muhammad Jihad al-Laham, the Assembly made it clear that what Saqr had committed represents a crime in accordance with national and international laws and a violation of the agreements signed between the two countries and runs counter to the policy of self-alienation declared by the Lebanese government regarding the situation in Syria. Laham said the Assembly expects Lebanese judicial institutions and Parliament to deal seriously with this matter and with a high degree of responsibility. He added that the Syrian judicial authorities will not stand arms folded and the People's Assembly will prepare a legal file in cooperation with the authorities to pursue Saqr and his partners through the Lebanese judiciary according to the agreements signed between the two countries and international laws. Prime Minister Wael al-Halaqi asserted the importance of cooperation and integrity between the executive and legislative authorities to put strategies and enact laws in order to provide the citizens' needs and to achieve comprehensive and sustainable development. During a meeting today with a group of parliamentary members representing Damascus countryside, the Prime Minister pointed out the positive role played by members of the Parliament in exposing the conspiracy against Syria, which aims to destabilize the country, undermine its national unity, and to destroy its infrastructure and economy. Dr. Halaqi confirmed Syria's ability to face the challenges and the unjust sanctions, referring to the great efforts exerted by the government to provide the basic needs of the citizens, especially food and oil derivatives, and the requirements of the agricultural production. Minister of Information Amran al-Zabi stressed that the violent escalation of the media campaigns launched by the conspirators against Syria is because the armed terrorist groups are being defeated under the strikes of the Syrian Arab Army, which is making progress in all areas. Al-Zabi's remarks were made during the meeting of the Budget Committee at the People's Assembly, during which the minister pointed to the necessity of supporting the various establishments affiliated to the Ministry of Information in light of a plan to establish media centers in cooperation with the Syrian Arab News Agency and the general establishment of radio and TV and our news center in Moscow. He pointed out that the government statement concerning the Information Ministry focuses on working to change the conception of media to become the media of the state, institutions, citizens, and the true issues of the people. Patriarch Ignatius IV Hazim of Antioch and all the Orient for the Greek Orthodox Church has died at the age of 92 after suffering from a stroke, as a result of which he was admitted to the intensive care yesterday.
Patriarch Ignatius IV Hazim of Antioch and all the Orient for the Greek Orthodox Church has died after suffering from a stroke. The late Patriarch was known for his patriotic stances and his support and love for the homeland Syria. He has worked all his life to keep Syria a strong country with its peaceful coexistence and national cohesion among all the brackets of the Syrian society. Ignatius was born in 1921 in the town of Maharde in the governorate of Hama from a pious Greek Orthodox family. After studying in Syria, he continued his university studies in Lebanon, getting a literature degree. Then he entered the service of the local Orthodox diocese, first by becoming an acolyte, then a deacon. In 1945, he went to Paris, where he graduated from St. Sergius Orthodox Theological Institute. Upon his return home, he founded Balaman Theological Institute, where he served as a dean for several years. Patriarch Hazim was one of the founders of the active Orthodox Youths Movement of Syria and Lebanon in 1942. In 1953, he helped establish the Word Fellowship of Orthodox Youths and the Theological School. He was consecrated to the episcopacy in 1961 and elected Metropolitan of Latakia in Syria in 1970. Almost 10 years later, and exactly on July the 2nd, 1979, he became the Orthodox Patriarch of Antioch as a successor of Apostles Peter and Paul at the headquarters of the Patriarchy in Damascus. Patriarch Ignatius IV Hazim was known to be helpful, ready to present assistance and advice. He was a good father and a good brother. May he rest in peace, the peace he had always called for.
In Egypt, anti-Mursi protesters continued to camp in front of the presidential palace and at Tahrir Square in Cairo as 5 Egyptian satellite stations announced their plan to go on a strike in protest against the presidential decree and the draft constitution. ONTV, Dream, CBC, Al Hayat and Al Nahar stations announced that they will stop their broadcast for 6 hours until midnight local time today. Yesterday, police used tear gas to prevent demonstrators from removing barricades around the palace as the outburst of clashes left 18 people injured. Morsi's opponents have been re-energized since he announced decrees last month that placed him above oversight of any kind, including by the courts, and provide immunity to 2 key bodies dominated by his allies, the panel drafting the constitution and Parliament's upper chamber. With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more information about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. And now over to latest business and market news with Khalid Saqabani after a short break.